Hey, what's up, phone lovers? Welcome to the Mobile Roar podcast for the week of August 4th, 2016. I'm Joe Fidowa.
I'm Chris Chavez, I'm Chris Chavez. That's it.
And Ashley is not with us this week
Yeah.
because her apartment is apparently 1,000,000 degrees, so we're not going to make her sweat on the air with us.
Yeah, where does she live? Kansas? It's like super hot out there.
She lives in Arkansas, so
Oh.
yes, very humid all times of the year, especially in the summer. So we send cool thoughts to Ashley.
Yeah, she needs to buy an AC unit or like a swamp cooler or something.
So this week, Note 7 finally official. It was announced on Tuesday at an event in New York City. And it was pretty an exciting event because everything that was shown off we already knew about.
Yeah.
We probably already talked about on this podcast, but
and we've already kind of seen. I mean, it's basically a S7 Edge with a pen, kind of. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and neither one of us got a chance to actually play with it, but Rob and Andrew, who were at the event for us, said it didn't feel too bad because the back, it has like the same curve on the front and the back, so there's not really like any sharp point on the sides or like a flat edge or anything. It just kind of like completely rounded over on the edges. So
yeah,
it feels good, but my concern is how is it actually going to like work when you pick it up with your hand, and like, are you going to have all those accidental touches, and is it going to be hard to pick it up and not touch the display, and all those concerns? Because I mean, the S7 Edge I don't think was really uncomfortable to hold, but it was just a little difficult to use
to use every day.
Yeah,
I'll pick up off of a table and try to like not touch the dang edges, and it was
plus
annoying.
this is, I mean, a lot bigger than the S7 Edge too. So
5.7 inches, S7 Edge is 5.5, so it's a little bit more hefty.
Oh really? Is it that close? 5.5 inches, 5.7 inches? Wow. I guess I didn't realize the Edge was that big.
Yeah,
that's practically overall, a Note already.
Yeah, it's pretty much. I mean, that's kind of what I honestly thought they would have the exact same screen size or something, but no, it's a little bit bigger. But the overall size of the phone is still pretty slim. I think it's thinner than like the iPhone 6 Plus. It's not as tall. It's more narrow, so a little bit easier to hold than like the iPhone 6 Plus. So people that found like the iPhone 6 Plus like too big to hold or a little unwieldy, the Note 7 should be like a lot easier to hold and use, I feel like.
So in terms of changes, if you compare it to the Note 5, the only change is really, so the Note 5 had that 16 megapixel camera, but now the Note 7 has the 12 megapixel camera that was in the S7. Has a bigger battery, so 3,500 milliamp hour compared to the Note 5, which was 3,000, which made a lot of people mad because that was smaller than the Note 4, if you remember. Yeah. And then the iris scanner, is probably one of the biggest new things.
That's kind of it. It's you get the pen, and a new and improved pen, but then you have the waterproofing, which the Note 5 didn't have, and then you have the iris scanner. So it's like kind of like three or four major things that are
USB Type-C is another one, I guess.
Yeah, which is cool or not, depending on who you ask.
Actually, the cool thing they did, I don't know if you saw this, is they are including an adapter.
Oh, yes. Awesome.
Which I think everyone should be doing right now to just kind of ease the transition.
Yeah. Which no one really has, but Samsung, I mean, they know that so many people and they have, people are sticking the Samsung branded stuff, and so they feel like, okay, we got all these USB cables lying around. Let's do everyone a solid and just give them a little adapter.
I'm really interested about the iris scanning, like how that's actually going to work when people get it.
Yeah, apparently
like we mentioned last week, they said again, if you're wearing glasses or contacts, it's not like the ideal situation. It might not work great. But everyone else, I mean, I heard that the setup process is just as easy as like the fingerprint. So that's good.
Scan your eyes a couple of times.
Yeah. It has like a second camera, and then it has a infrared camera, I guess, that for like when it's dark out.
Yeah, and then Samsung said they're going to have a what is it, like banks and stuff, so some apps and stuff will be able to use it to like authenticate, kind of just like the fingerprint scanner that you use right now, but you can also use your eyes, which I don't think anyone really supports right now, so we'll probably have to wait until the phone comes out and all that. But pretty cool. I think if it works in the background and it which it probably might, like as soon as you pick up your phone, maybe the sensors will like automatically turn on the iris scanning, and then you can hold it up. That'll help like speed up the process. But even then, like people are already saying, like it's really, really quick, surprisingly fast.
That's good.
Yeah.
What else? Like you said, the S Pen is a little bit updated. The tip, I guess, is like half the size as it was last time. So I guess it's more accurate that way. And then they like added some new software to all that S Pen stuff.
Yeah, translate, and then but the S Pen works in water too, so that's kind of neat because the phone can be submerged.
Right.
You can still use the phone. So like usually when your phone gets wet, even if it's wet, you can't really touch anything because it just wigs out and goes nuts.
Yeah.
This way you could still use the pen to do all the fine.
That actually is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't put the pen in backwards now.
Oh yeah, they fixed it.
Physically impossible.
And it's still waterproof even with the pen and all that. They made the little slot waterproof, which is cool.
Yeah. It comes in some interesting colors.
Mm-hmm.
So silver and black are the standard, and then we have like a pearl blue, I think they called it, and a gold one, which no one in the US seems to have.
Yeah, the blue one I think is the weirdest one because it's a two-tone. It's like a blue on the front and back, and then the frame or rim or whatever is like a orangish, like a blue and orange.
Yeah. In the photos I've seen of it in real life, it doesn't look too bad, but the renders made it look kind of weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure no one would probably have too big a problem with it, but to me, it still just looks like a weird color choice.
The black is clearly still the best color.
Yes. Murdered out, flat black. It's wonderful.
So yeah, there's not really a whole lot to say about it. Just, I mean, Samsung really, like, I don't know what they need to do, but their phones get leaked so much.
Oh yeah. Because I mean, like they try to like launch internationally. It's kind of like I feel like the same deal with like the iPhone and stuff. So they have to like get them out to everybody, and they ship them out all over the world and try to keep them hush hush. But it always seems to there's somewhere where it just leaks out. Usually like Vietnam or China or something.
I mean, I'm trying to think of anything that they announced that we didn't know.
Ooh, there was. I mean, back in the day, I forget which one it was, but like they.
No, I mean just in regards to the Note 7.
Oh,
like anything they announced on Tuesday that we didn't know about.
Any spec?
I mean, we had official press renders. We had everything. We knew about the iris scanner. We knew how the iris scanner was going to work. I mean,
the pricing, I think, was
yeah. That is actually something we should mention. It costs $850.
An arm and a leg.
Yeah, it is
tax, after taxes, that's about $900. It's almost a cool $1,000 for this sucker.
And the Note phones, they traditionally have been more expensive. Plus, we have the edge screen. Plus, we have the iris scanner. So, it is probably the most expensive Android phone I can remember, at least.
Yeah, there's nothing that's going to top that right now. I mean, maybe the S7 Edge was, what was it, like $750 or something? So this is like almost $100 more, just for those features. So you kind of have to decide: do I could get an S7 Edge, or do I want a Note 7 with the pen and iris scanner for $100 more? I don't know if a lot of people would really opt for that.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I wouldn't.
So you just said you wouldn't. Do you think you'll look into this phone, try it out?
No, I mean, I'm seeing like all the pre-order stuff, and I was like, should I pre-order it? And I don't know. It's like $35 a month on contract, or not on contract, but with the payment plans and stuff. And I'm not sure if I really kind of already have an S7 Edge. This one does look. The iris. I don't know. No, probably not.
Yeah, I'm not that interested in it either. I had the Note 5 last year, and it was all right, but I don't really feel like I need another one.
Yeah, the size is just, I mean, it's kind of ridiculously big. I would have liked to have seen them like maybe launched with Nougat or something. That would have been a cool little thing.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
And because I remember with Android N, the whole reason that they were doing the whole like betas and all this stuff was so that they could get it into their partners' phones a lot quicker, and you would see people launching with the next Android, big Android version, like a lot faster, and updates would happen a lot quicker. But this phone, surprisingly, I don't know, so odd. It's just marshmallow. Meanwhile, you have like LG, who's already announcing the world's first Nougat phone, which is the V20 or something that's coming out later this year.
I don't think anyone. I mean, normal people don't care about that anyway.
The V20.
Yeah. All right, so that's the Note 7. We mentioned the price tag. You can pre-order it right now, and it's going to start shipping on August 19th, which is about 2 weeks from now. So, yeah. Let us know if you are getting that phone.
Yep.
So, moving on. We had some more Nexus leaks this week, and some pretty interesting ones, I have to say. We had some leaked software even. So did you try the new Nexus launcher, Chris?
I did. I couldn't get it to fully function. I guess you needed to you needed root access, or you needed to flash something, or just like custom recovery in order to get that, just to slide it open, like to slide the Google Now thing. But I tried like the rest of it, I guess. The wallpapers didn't work, which I guess they have a new wallpaper chooser. But yeah, didn't get to fully, I guess, experience it. I tried it for a little while and was like, this is kind of whatever. Just went back to Nova. like always.
Yeah, so explain a little bit, like, what are the major differences in this launcher?
When it initially leaked, it was, people just we thought it was going to be the Google Now launcher, which is already out in the Google Play Store and stuff. Was going to be like the next big update for that. And it was weird because one, it's like the UI is completely different. They got rid of the Google search bar, which is like on the Google Now launcher, is just no matter where you go, it's always, just it's there, persistent search bar that you can't escape from. They got rid of that, and now it's just this little tab on the side that you can tap, almost like a button, and it kind of hints that, oh, there's a Google Now pane to the home screen that you can slide over. So that's a neat way to like visually, like, hey, there's something going on this side of my home screen, and you swipe over. And then there's also, but now there's a persistent like calendar widget. It shows the date, which is really weird, and you can't move it, you can't delete it. And then the other weird thing that they got rid of was the app button, the app drawer button, which we've had since.
Freak out.
We've had for so long. What was it? I think it was like Froyo that introduced it.
But the app drawer is still there.
Yeah, the app drawer is still there, but now you have to swipe. So now you have to swipe to open it. Basically, you just grab the bottom dock and you swipe up, and then you have all your apps and stuff, which is the exact same gesture, the exact same way we used to use like Android Donut and stuff, like on the G1. It's the exact same thing.
I think it's a really, I mean, I guess most people that get Nexus phones are pretty tech savvy, but I think it's like, okay, getting rid of the app drawer is one thing because then all the apps are on the home screen. But putting all the apps in like this drawer that is not obvious where it is, I don't feel like is a great decision.
Yeah, and it's really weird. They have the dock now is kind of like this glass. It reminds me of what Google was doing with the UI back in, like, I think it was Froyo or something way back then, where it was like everything was like a transparent glass. That was like the UI trend back then, but it just doesn't really fit right, and it's kind of weird. But here's the weird part, is that it turns out that this isn't even an update to the Google Now launcher. This is something completely separate that seems to be exclusive just for Nexus devices. They're calling it the Nexus launcher. So whether or not we see this in the Google Now launcher, like an update to that, we don't know, but it seems like this is just that exclusive UI experience that Sundar Pichai was talking about in that one interview, which we talked about. in the podcast previously. It was like, what are they going to do with that? Because there was a big rumor that they were going to have some weird new UI for just Nexus devices, but I mean that wouldn't make much sense because it's a Nexus device. It's supposed to be stock Android, so yeah, the Android part is going to be stock, but I guess they're going to have this custom crazy launcher with a slide out drawer for some odd reason.
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, there were a lot of people who were like, "Oh my gosh, it's so awesome."
I couldn't understand.
I was not one of them. I definitely prefer like the search bar instead of the little tab.
Yeah.
And yeah, the app drawer thing is weird.
Yeah. Even the tab is like okay. I don't like that there's a persistent calendar widget there because like you can't really see it on all wallpapers. So now you got to kind of try to figure that out. But to me, the slide out drawer was the biggest weird thing that I really bothered me. They did have a cool feature with the wallpaper chooser. Now I guess you can have it rotate by day or something, or like it's timed now. So you can, there's a little option for that. So you can have it cycle through a couple wallpapers, which I thought was really neat. But other than that, it's kind of like, why? And if this is going to be different than the Google Now launcher, it's just, again, like, why?
Well, I think one reason why could be Google Assistant.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they want that to be like, just a swipe away, really easy to find. And they really want people to use it. So they're making it super obvious that it's right there.
That it is there. Yeah, I guess. Which I still feel like they could have just done with the Google Now launcher. I don't know. It's just the weird like dock now and things, just changing things just for the sake of changing things and not really to better like the user experience. Just seems like not a good move.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. There was another rumor. So I guess you'll be able to swipe your finger across the fingerprint scanner on the back of the new phone, and presumably all Nexus phones, and that will pull down the notification shade.
Yeah. So there was a leak where it just showed that. It's like one of the tutorials. So there might be more gestures. We don't know yet, but one of the ones that was leaked, or the only one that was leaked so far, was just swiping down on the fingerprint scanner on the back, which I mean, I guess is cool because you can't really use your thumb and usually your index finger is already back there. So
yeah,
I could see how that could be pretty useful as long as it works accurately. We saw this feature like on Honor devices, even like the Honor 5X has it. And that's like a really budget phone. The problem with the Honor 5X was that it didn't like work right, and it wasn't.
Was it swipes on the Honor? I thought it was just like number of taps.
No, they had nobody really ever used it, but yeah, they had a swiping one where you could swipe left and right and up and down to do different functions, and one of them was like pull down the notification.
It's like the trackball, dude. Weren't we just talking about the trackball?
Exactly. It's literally what they're making it into a trackball again, which is really weird.
Next year, the Nexus will just have a trackball on the back.
It's just a giant ball. That'd be great. Play Centipede with it, but it's just. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see how it works. But like I said, on Honor devices, it's kind of clunky. Doesn't really feel right.
Most things are clunky on Honor devices, to be honest. It's really
weird though to see, like, out of all the things that Google could do, they kind of took this one little feature from like a Huawei device. It's weird. Interesting.
Okay, so I think probably one of the most interesting stories of this week has been Instagram stories.
Woo!
And I don't even need to explain what Instagram stories is because if you've used Snapchat stories, you already know. True. It is probably one of the most blatant ripoffs among popular apps that I've ever seen.
So many things. They could have named it so many other things, but I feel like they wanted people to know that we have a Snapchat clone, basically.
So same name, same 24-hour period, same writing on photos, same drawing on photos. It is pretty much a straight ripoff. And it's a million times better than Snapchat.
It really is. Just even the quality of like the video and the photos and stuff now look way better. The UI is just a lot easier to figure out because they have this animation now when you swipe between users. It looks like a cube. Which the cube is kind of weird and whatever. It doesn't really make sense on Instagram, I feel like, but it's just the fact that you can tell, okay, I'm switching to like a new user now or whatever. And then
there's like a handy timer across the top, so you can see like how many photos they have, and you can see it like the expiring, almost like a loading bar. And which I mean, Snapchat has the circle, but I feel like Instagram just looks a little nicer.
It's nice because you can see exactly how many there are, and then you know if you can go back or skip or forward. You can go previous or back by tapping the edges, which
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's kind of hit or miss, and it's really kind of difficult to because you have to really get the edge, but then it'll go back and forward just in that person's story, which is nice. So I mean, there's a lot of people just ripping it because they're just it's a complete clone. They copied Snapchat, which is fine.
Absolutely true.
Which is nobody could deny that. But this is great because there's tons of people using Instagram, and a lot of people were kind of reluctant to move to Snapchat because they like that Snapchat idea, the temporary photos and the whole living in the moment thing and sharing that stuff. But nobody wanted to have to invest in a completely new social network and stuff like me. So now I'm just like, I'll just end up probably just using Snapchat or Instagram stories now. I'm gonna keep messing that up.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad because you like Snapchat, and I mean Snapchat, it has more, like, okay, so the one thing you can't do with Instagram stories is like if I want to send a one-off 6-second photo to a friend and then have it be gone forever, like is a common thing to do in Snapchat. You can't do that. Like you can send direct photos to people, but they don't expire, so they don't have like that quite level of yet, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And then there's like Snapchat Discover, which is whatever. Some people use it, some people never use it. I actually use it occasionally. But yeah, I mean, I think I might just completely stop using Snapchat stories and just use Instagram stories.
Yeah, for real. I mean, and it's kind of it's really not really who does the feature better or whatever. It kind of matters like where your friends are and who's using what. So like I feel like with Facebook, you got your grandma and your mom on there, and then now you start getting some of your family moving to Instagram and trying that out. So you're just like, so these teens and kids and people just like, let me move over to a new service, which was kind of like Snapchat, and they handled the whole chat aspect a lot better too. On Snapchat, you can send money, send video messages, and do all that stuff. So the chatting is just better on Snapchat for now, and it's just kind of a way to like separate or compartmentalize your life. So you can put like all my acquaintances and online friends will be on Snapchat, and then maybe like my family and stuff will be on Instagram, and I'll censor myself with the stuff I post to Instagram or whatever. But so I feel like they still kind of have their own little niches, but I still like Instagram better. It's just it's cool.
It's like Snapchat Lite, really.
Yeah,
because like I don't think you can even choose how long a photo is in stories. It's like 6 seconds. That's it.
Yeah, 3.5 to 4 seconds for a photo. There's no way to do a timer on it. I mean, I do feel like they're going to overhaul their chat stuff on Instagram, which they recently did, but now they're probably going to add a lot of like Snapchat like features and stuff, which we'll probably see later. We'll see. But huge update. I think it's awesome. It's great.
And I kind of like I kind of like the fact sticking it to Snapchat because their app for Android just is garbage.
Yes.
So this is what happens. You had all this time to make a great app, and look, Instagram came in and did it better than you.
You
and it's all your fault. They're horrible D-bag of a CEO.
The terrible UI on Snapchat.
All right, so Niantic, they finally speak.
They're
Niantic
alive.
Speaks.
Nobody knew if they were alive.
Yeah, so last week we went on a pretty good rant about some of the stuff that wasn't working in Pokemon Go and Niantic in general, about how they were just, they were being horrible. They weren't communicating with the community at all, and yada, yada, yada. And so finally this week they made some changes to the app, and more importantly is they actually like did a Facebook post and explained why they made some of the changes. So the biggest change is they removed the steps completely. So we were talking about how the 3-step bug, every Pokemon was listed as 3 steps away. Well, now there's just no steps. You have no idea how far any of them are away, and you just see the ones that are nearby. And I've heard a lot of people that are like, this is how Pokemon games usually are. You don't really know exactly where they are. You just kind of walk aimlessly. And that is definitely true. But the game didn't start like that. If the game had started like that, okay, that's fine. But you don't give people something and then take it away.
Dude, they get mad. They get very, very angry. And that's all the Pokemon Go subreddit is just people that are just completely salty and pissed off at all the changes and stuff. Which I think I feel like I'm one of the only people, but I think all the changes are for the better. I love the update. It just sucks when you were used to it being a certain way, and then you make it harder and difficult, and then people get all up in arms. And
yeah, I mean, some of the things they did was all right. Like Vaporeon, I can never say that one, was like the best Pokemon in the game, and it was kind of unfair.
Overpowered, for sure.
It was overpowered, and so they finally fixed that. So now it's still really good, but it's just not unfairly good. So that was a good thing.
They balanced out, some of the stuff, which is nice.
Gym battles work a lot better now. Also, one thing they did that I'm not a huge fan of is they made it more likely for a Pokemon to run away, and not in an intelligent way where, say, you have a 500 CP something in front of you and it runs away. Okay, that makes sense. But I've had things that are 100 CP run away after one throw, and that is just annoying because they didn't actually make it more difficult to catch Pokemon. They just upped the probability of Pokemon running away.
Yeah,
I feel like they should have had it I don't know, 300 and above are more likely to run away or something like that,
Yeah, which I think it still does. I mean, there's still some really hard ones, and it's tough to say. This is where I was a little bit confused, was because usually the higher level you go of your character, the more difficult it is to catch Pokemon, regardless of their.
Which is another thing that I think is stupid.
Yeah, the higher level you get, the more tough it is. So I wasn't sure if maybe it was just because I had recently jumped up a couple levels, or if it was something they changed in the game. But no, I guess they pretty much increased all the difficulty percentages, whatever that is. So the flee rate, the amount of times the freaking Pokemon are bouncing out of the ball. I mean, every time you catch one, it's bloop, just hops right out. Nope. And
I think they're still actually tweaking it too, because the day that they rolled it out, I noticed it immediately. I had a bunch of them run away from me. And then yesterday, I caught a bunch of Pokemon on just one throw. and not even with great balls or anything. So I was like, what is going on? Did they tweak it back? It's really weird.
Yeah, it's an ongoing thing with them, a project. So, and I mean, all this stuff can be done, from the server side of things. So it's maybe they're getting the feedback. I mean, they keep saying we're listening. So I'm sure they probably heard the feedback with that and probably tweaking it a little bit. But I love the whole difficulty thing. Now the circle, your little Pokemon detection circle that comes out of your character, it's a lot shorter now, which means you have to be a lot closer for Pokemon to show up on the map, which is pretty neat because it makes it a lot more difficult when you're driving around to get Pokemon, which you shouldn't be doing. You should be walking or bicycling or stuff. Because before you would be driving down the road and all these Pokemon will show up in a block away, and you would just tap it and just catch it in the car or do whatever. But now it's so quick. And the refresh time for those Pokemon to show up has been increased. So you will have to be in that location, which is a lot smaller now, for double the amount of time for that Pokemon to show up. So again, it's kind of curbing the whole driving around aspect. You can't really just do it in your car while you're driving down the street. You actually have to physically get out and walk around, so you can stop or walk slow enough that you can find Pokemon near you, which is cool. I think it's awesome. People are calling it a cash grab or a money grab because now you got to use more Pokeballs and you're running out of Pokeballs and they just want money for this and that. But to me, you can't make something too easy, and I feel like that's how it was when it first launched. There was people that were level 25 like a day or two after like the game came out. I'm like, what are these people
Yeah.
doing? And the cap is at level 40, so it's like it's going too fast. People are it's obviously too easy, so they have to tweak the difficulty a little bit. And I feel like right now it's kind of at that point where it's like they're still trying to balance it out. But I think it's a good balance now, and the difficulty should be a little more difficult than it was. I did feel like it was kind of a little too easy, but now it's just more difficult, and now people are just crying and complaining because of that.
Yeah, there's so many like variables that it's hard to get it the perfect level of difficulty. I feel like, and it should never take more than one ball to catch something that's like under 50 CP, but sometimes it will, and that's the most frustrating thing.
And you don't know why, because you don't know what like these percentages are and what's happening, and what like it can be frustrating. But I mean, there's times where I've tried to catch just the stupidest Pokemon. I'm spending like 30 balls, and it's just like I've invested too many to go back now. I could just like ditch this guy and flee, but no, you're mine. Like I don't care. I've already invested all these balls. I'm gonna catch you. So I have noticed that I'm running out of balls all the time now. So now I have to be more active and diligent to make sure that whenever I'm out and about, I'm hitting up Pokestops like all the time to stock up. Otherwise, I'm going to be left out. But it's cool. I like it.
The biggest change, I think, in terms of like making people mad is probably so they killed a lot of those third-party trackers that we were talking about last week.
That's what really did it, I think.
Yeah. We actually got a Twitter question about that. Adam Jones asked, are all your Pokemon detector maps failing? Since yesterday, all 3 I've tried fail. Most of the ones I was using stopped working. The one that I had, I think I recommended last week, called PokeScanner, which was not even in the Play Store. That one was still working for a while, but I don't know if it's working anymore. It wasn't showing nearly as many Pokemon, but they went and they killed a lot of those. And they said, we have limited access by third-party services, which were interfering with our ability to maintain quality of service for our users and to bring Pokemon Go to users around the world. So basically, they were just saying like they were a strain on the system, and so they had to kill them.
And it's all the ones that were using that same API, which was basically using the nearby. That's kind of why some people thought that the whole reason why they removed nearby was because all these APIs the API was tapping into that, and that's how you were able to find which Pokemon were close by, and it was able to triangulate them and all this stuff. So, which is fine. I mean, it's not so much that they removed the tracking stuff; it's the fact that they didn't replace it with an actual functioning nearby thing.
Yeah.
So they just should have kept one or the other. But I guess right now they're trying to roll out in more countries, and they're so focused on this rollout and keeping things stable that they're just like, we can't let this happen. And then they got rid of it. Pretty much the only ones that do work, the Pokemon tracking ones, are the ones that you log into with an account. And then those ones kind of keep running in the background. They send you notifications when you're nearby Pokemon, so you don't have to have the app open the whole time and stuff. And I hear there's some pretty good ones, Smart Poke version 2. Which is really weird because as soon as they pop up in the Google Play Store, they're like immediately removed. So I don't know if it's Google or Nintendo or the Niantic that's just issuing all these like DMCA things or whatever, but they don't last very long in the Google Play Store. But you have to download them quick, and then you have them on your phone. They can't remove it from your phone. So those are cool. But then I don't really feel comfortable logging with my account. But they recommend using like these, like creating a secondary account and just using that.
Yeah, and that's what I did. I mean, I still stand by. I think it's more fun with the trackers. And I know Niantic disagrees, but I really I've had so much more fun playing the game with these trackers than I was before.
It's more fun, and it's kind of like the whole. Goes back to like the days of just like cheat codes and stuff, and how some people you'd have a video game and some people would enable God mode and stuff, and they would fly around like in Grand Theft Auto, and it's like that's not how the game's supposed to be played, but at the same time that's increasing your enjoyment of it, and you're having more fun playing it, and you probably wouldn't have played it otherwise. But so yeah, it's just kind of,
and I don't feel like it's like, I wouldn't even compare it to a God mode cheat, because like there are what I would consider God mode cheats, where you can like literally sit on your couch and use a joystick and like move around and not even leave. That is God mode.
I have a friend doing that.
at least I'm like actually still playing the game in the way it was intended to. I just have more information.
You're like a passive god that can look down on the world and see where all the Pokemon are.
It's true.
Little god.
But yeah, they really have to. I don't know if they're gonna never add it back, but I feel like they really need some way to find Pokemon, because it's complete crapshoot now.
Yeah, it's so terrible. And they said like it's not working properly.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
They were saying it's not working properly, and that's the reason why they removed it. But they'll bring it back once they figure out how to improve it, because it just really never really worked as intended, that they said. So I'm hoping that they put maybe some kind of arrow where you can choose a Pokemon, or maybe even the whole, like when it first came out, there was rumors of if you face your Pokemon that you have selected, it would like pulse green or something to make the tracking more accurate and better, so that we don't need to use these tracking apps, and just make it funner. That's the fun part. Is going out.
The other thing they removed is you can't even tap on a Pokemon in the nearby.
Yeah, it's gone with
to like kind of focus it on that Pokemon, So yeah, if you want to find one in your nearby, it's nearly impossible.
You absolutely cannot. And I mean, it doesn't help that if you have, I've been in a car with like 4 people, and we all open our nearbys, and all of our nearbys are showing different stuff, and it's like there's no freaking way. I went to Santa Monica Pier, and like it had like 3 Jinxes, which I haven't caught before. You
haven't caught a Jinx?
No, they're only at the Santa Monica Pier, or you get them in an egg. But so there's 3 of them, and they're all nearby, and I'm like running up and down the pier. I'm going everywhere, and you could see them moving through nearby, but like none of them ever showed up, and I was just like, forget this game. I'm done. I'm never playing again. But yeah, I always come back.
It still is such a cool game. Just like the fact that you have a hard time getting Jinxes. I had one in like the first week, and I don't even catch them anymore because I'm sick of them. And like I have a friend who lives in Australia, and a really common Pokemon there is Doduo.
Oh yeah, we get
and like never seen one of those here. So like there is really cool like aspects of this game.
Yeah. It's cool, and they're updating it and they're tweaking it, and it was. I feel like they just should have put the beta tag on it, just left it on there.
But it wasn't beta for 4 months. That's what makes me mad.
Yeah, it needed more time to cook for sure.
All right, let's move on from Pokemon Go. LG V20 is scheduled to be announced at September 6th event in San Francisco, I believe. So we'll finally see LG's probably hoping this is like their savior for the year, because the G5 did not do very well.
Yeah, and the last V10 was pretty well received. It got really good reviews. Everyone I know that didn't like the what came out last year, G4, they loved the V10. So we'll see what they do with this one. I'm hoping it just has the ticker all the way across. If they just make it 3/4 of the way like last time or whatever, I'm gonna be so upset. Terrible.
Apple Music finally left beta for Android. Was there anything new?
Version 1.0. Well, now it's officially 1.0, and they added the EQ settings. So if your phone has EQ settings, you can adjust those. And that's it. It's not. I thought it was going to be the big new UI update that they released on iOS, and that they announced at WWDC. But nope, it's the same old weird UI that's ugly and hard to use and just confusing. So we'll have to wait for, I guess, another update before they switch over to the Spotify UI later.
Okay, I don't know anyone using Apple Music on Android. Do you?
I have a friend who uses Apple Music, and he was trying to put me on his family account so I could try it on Android, but that's about it. Yeah, nobody on Android, really.
All right, and our last story is pretty funny, I think. So Kim Kardashian loves BlackBerry Bolds. I don't know if you guys know this,
Okay.
but they don't make BlackBerry Bolds anymore, or at least the model that she likes, they don't make anymore.
Yeah.
And so what she's been doing, this was actually a story like a while ago. I think we probably talked about it. Is whenever her Bold would like crap out, she would go on eBay to buy a new one. And like a few months ago, the story was she said like she could tell that they were running out, like the world's supply of BlackBerry Bolds was like decreasing
in bulk.
Because every time she would buy them, like she would actually buy them in bulk, and like every time she would go on eBay, she would see less and less. And so this week, it happened again, and she can't find any on eBay. Apparently, they're all gone.
It's just time. It's like trying to find a Sidekick or something. Sidekick 2. That's sad. Poor Kim. I mean, it's weird because she has an iPhone. You see her, she posts stuff, and she's using an iPhone. But I guess
she uses both.
Yeah, I don't know.
She's one of those people that still says she likes to use the BlackBerry for email and stuff like that.
Just has to type. I guess some people just really need to type a lot, and she's probably always their big fingernails clicking away.
I guess.
I mean, it's just you have to commit to it. Once you commit to the software keyboard, it becomes much easier. And then, I mean, the iPhone keyboard is awesome, and she's using a giant like Plus, so that's like tons of room for your thumbs and stuff. I mean, it's just I think because by holding on to the BlackBerry, the physical keyboard, she was never able to adjust. And now this is gonna like push her into full software keyboard mode, and your body just you learn how to do it.
Yeah.
First.
So there's like all these posts going around of people like trying to convince Kim Kardashian of like what phone to use next.
Get a new Samsung Galaxy Note. Which, I mean, the Galaxy stuff is probably a good option because they have that keyboard case, the one where it makes it into a BlackBerry.
That's true.
A little snap-on
I forgot
one.
about that thing. They showed that off again with the Note. It's like they show that off with every phone now, and I've literally never seen anyone use one before. I kind of doubt people are even buying them. All right. So Throwback Thursday. I don't really have anything for this week. One thing I thought we could possibly talk about is the first Note. Because I vividly remember.
How big was the screen on that?
I vividly remember being at CES, the first year I ever went to CES, and this was when the Note was new. And I remember seeing like giant billboards in Las Vegas for this phone. And I remember like seeing the phone there and like posting a picture on Facebook, like, LOL, this phone is so big, ha ha ha, And it was like such a strange thing that everyone thought was kind of ridiculous. Like pretty much everyone did. I mean, I remember like a lot of the major tech sites of the time, like,
oh my goodness,
stupid.
Guess how big this screen was.
All right. So it's 5.7 now. I'm going to guess it was 5 inches.
5.3.
Okay.
Which was enormous at the time.
Yeah. So it really is funny. I mean, I just feel like everyone was laughing at that phone, and then it actually did really well.
Yeah, there was I mean, posts where like, these text, like big tech sites and stuff were saying it's comical and it's embarrassing to use in public, and they're going to laugh at, like, people are going to laugh at you for having this giant tablet, like phablet. It was the first phablet. That's when they started coining the phrase. 2,500 milliamp hour battery, which was enormous at the time. The battery life was absolutely nuts on that phone. I actually did the review, believe it or not, on Fandroid for the very first Galaxy Note. And
was that a 720p screen?
720p, yep. Which at the time, I mean, it was AMOLED and everything looked great.
Still had the stylus.
Still had a cool little stylus. It wasn't too bad. I mean, I thought it was silly too when it first came out, but I remember using it. And I thought it was just like there was something nice about it. The battery life was really, really great, and just having this giant screen to like watch movies and stuff, which of course, I mean, the One Plus is a 5.5 inch screen now, which is considered, I guess, bigger. It's just so weird how you just you get used to these things, but 5.3 inch.
Yeah, the thing I remember about the Note is when it actually did start doing well, it seemed like it was the perfect soccer mom phone.
Yep. Yeah. removable battery. It was pretty big at the time. Great battery life.
Really easy to type on. And if you're a soccer mom, you have a purse. You don't have to worry about fitting in your pocket.
Yep. It was pretty neat. Pretty interesting little phone.
How far we've come.
They were visionaries.
All right. So wins and fails of the week. My win of the week is going to be this guy right here, the Gear 360 camera.
Oh, wow.
Which I got last week.
Can you put that Gorilla Pod over your head and like?
I totally could. Yeah, it doesn't come with this. I've had this for a while. I put it on. It comes with the tripod it comes with really sucks. It's literally this big. Like you can, it's pretty pointless. But yeah, so it's pretty cool. Like I've been playing around with it. It works officially only with Samsung phones, but there is a pretty easy little hacky thing you can do to use it on other phones. So I've been using it on my HTC 10, no problem. I put a 256 gigabyte SD card in it, and I've been doing some photos. I did like a 360-degree video, just like walking through my house, trying it out, and uploaded it to YouTube, just like testing out how seamless it is. And it's like, it works really well. I mean, for someone who doesn't know how to do a lot of like video editing and like fancy stuff like that, if you just want to be able to take 360-degree videos and stuff, this makes it super easy. And the quality is actually pretty impressive. I haven't really done anything like one cool idea I have that I really want to try. So I have a bird feeder in my backyard that's like a house shape, and I thought it would be really cool to put this camera like inside the bird feeder and fill it all up with seed, and then just do a video of like all the birds like 3 inches away from the camera, and you could see all the way around. I'm gonna try that. I think it would be really cool. But I've
been wanting a 360 camera for a while now, but it's just like I don't know which one to kind of invest in. Has it been clunky to kind of carry it around and make sure you bring it with you?
I haven't really carried it around anywhere. More on that in my fail. But yeah, it is. I mean, it's like the size. It's bigger than a golf ball for sure. You would definitely notice if it was in your pocket. But it's not that big, and if you take the tripod off, it's not that bulky. But I think the quality, from what I've seen in videos at least, the quality of this kind of destroys the LG 360 cam.
I think the Samsung Gear, which isn't even the best quality, but it's the best quality of all like the 360 cam stuff.
And it's actually going to finally, I did not even know it wasn't available in the US, but it apparently it's not, but it will be on August 19th when the Note 7 launches officially. So if you want one, you can get it, and it's going to cost like $350 to $400, which is pretty expensive. I'm not sure if it's worth that, but if you do want a really easy way to do 360 stuff, it's pretty easy to use. So, so my fail, why haven't I been walking around very much lately? So I broke my toe the other day. First bone in my body that I have broke in 28 years.
Which toe was it?
It's the one right next to the big toe.
Oh, okay. The long one.
Yeah. And it was such a stupid, like, I don't have a cool story or anything like that. I just literally stubbed it on like a cement step, and I wasn't wearing shoes. And like thought nothing of it. This happened like at 11 o'clock at night, and I got a little cut from the cement. So I just like, cleaned it up, put a Band-Aid on, went to bed. And then, because I've stubbed my toe a million times, like everybody has. And it wasn't like hurting a lot. And then I woke up and it was hurting, and I tried to bend it and I nearly blacked out. Like everything went like fuzzy. And
oh my gosh.
It was insane. Like never had happened to me before, but I've heard people say this, like when they break bones, that this has happened. So I was like, oh shit, I broke it. So I had to go to the emergency room and got a boot and tetanus shot and all that crap.
Oh jeez. That's crazy. I mean, I've broken my big toe once, and it was apparently there's nothing they can do. I mean, I don't have health insurance, but from what my parents and everybody would say is that when you break a toe, you can't like put anything on it. It's just you got to let it do its thing and heal.
Yeah, like I don't have a cast on my toe or anything like that. It's just the
Yeah.
boot kind of keeps your foot flat. That's all it
Okay.
really does.
Yeah. My big toe was broken. I did it when I was like in elementary school, but it was literally broken for like years. Anytime you'd bend it, it would hurt for years, like 3 or 4 years before it finally healed up. But hopefully yours is quicker.
Got that to look forward to.
Yeah. So yeah, my win for the week is going to be, I guess it's the Pokemon Go update, which we already talked about in great depth. But yeah, just I like the fact that it is more difficult, and it's not because I'm a masochist or just some sicko. I think it's actually they balanced it out a lot better now, and they, some of the more powerful characters they nerfed, which is great. Vaporeon and some of them, and they balanced out a lot of the moves and all that stuff. So the raise in difficulty to me makes the game a little more fun. I'm just really waiting for the whole nearby thing.
Chris really wants to be the very best, the best there ever was, and he doesn't want it to be easy. He wants it to be a challenge.
Now the kids are all going back to school now, which is great. It's going to be me out there at 2 a.m.
taking over all those gyms while they're gone. Then they get back from school, they're like, "What the crap?"
It's been so hard to get my guy from level 21 to 22. It's been like it's so insanely difficult. But my feel for the week is going to be, and I've talked about this before, but USB Type-C. But now there's an update on why it's such a fail, because it's insane now how completely just broken this whole standard is, and then all the accessories. So apparently someone discovered that Nexus chargers aren't even up to spec. So there was that whole deal with that Benson guy, the Googler, who was testing all these USB Type-C cables and was saying, don't use anything that's not perfectly Type-C spec. You're going to fry your devices. Well, great. It turns out that the Nexus chargers that Huawei includes on the Nexus 6P and LG includes on the Nexus 5X, those also aren't up to spec. So if you use a perfectly normal up to spec cable on one of those chargers to charge some other device, whether it's a computer or whatever else uses Type-C, you have the potential of frying your device and it'll explode, and it's just insane. I can't believe. What
about the one with the HTC 10? Is that one bad?
That's the Qualcomm 3.0 one, which that Benson dude was pissing all over because he hates Qualcomm 3.0 because it's not up to spec, and they could have just done like the whole power delivery thing, which is like up to 3 amps and 12 volts or something through a Type-C cable. But with the 3.0 one, they don't do that, and they use like a special cable. So it's just a complete and total mess right now, and it's so annoying that like I can't just go on Amazon right now and just buy a cable. I can't just go on Amazon right now and buy a charger because
it's so weird. Like I don't even understand why this happened. I mean, when they switched from what was before micro USB, it was mini USB. When they switched from mini USB to micro USB, I don't remember any of this stuff happening.
Nope. You just bought any old cable. I mean, there were some cables that were like, I remember when micro first came out, there were some that were like USB 1.0, and then you wanted to get the USB 2.0 ones, and then some of them didn't have all the pins, so they wouldn't charge as fast. They capped out at a certain point, but then now eventually all of them, every cable is awesome. Micro USB cable is good now, but I mean, it's part of the growing pains, and I know, and it sucks, but it's just like, it's so frustrating that now you have the Note coming out, so just beware with your cables. Just only use, and it sucks to say this because I usually have cables everywhere in every, like my bedroom, my living room, and my car. But yeah, you really have to stick to the cables that the manufacturer makes and the charger that the manufacturer makes, because mix and matching and using with different devices and stuff, you're gonna fry something. It's just a matter. It's a matter of time. It's like playing Russian roulette.
With my HTC 10, I use 2 cables. I use the one that HTC's, and then there's this TronSmart fast charger one that they gave me at the event that I use. Those are the 2 that I use. And the TronSmart one, I've noticed, gets my phone really hot.
Yeah,
It does. I mean, it is charging it super fast, to be fair, but it gets pretty warm.
Yeah, I was when I had the 5X before I sold it. I was using just the charger that came with that, because I was like, oh, this is the Google charger. You know, it's 3 amps, 5 volts. I can use this to charge anything. So I was using it to charge my HTC 10, my OnePlus 3, anything that had Type C. I was using that. But now I was like, after reading this, was like, damn, that was really close. I could have probably blew something up. So yeah, no more.
All right. So app picks. My app pick is going to be very specific because I broke my toe. But because I broke my toe, I have to take antibiotics because, like I said, I got a cut there too. So like, there's a risk for infection. So I have to take 4 pills a day, which really sucks. And so I was like, I'm not going to remember to do this. So I looked up for an app, and there's this actually really awesome app. It's called MetaSafe. And you just like put in your type of pill that you're taking, and it'll find it. You can even like tell it what color the pill is and like make it look exactly like the pill you have. And then it'll like, and then you say, okay, so I put in the type of pill I have, and it automatically knew that this was a pill that had to be taken 4 times a day. And it automatically, scheduled it out for me like 8 a.m., 1 p.m., 6 p.m. and 11 p.m. 4 times. And it just like did everything for me, and then gives me a notification when it's time to take it. And I can hit take, and it will, mark that I took that pill so that I know, or I can snooze it and it'll like snooze 10 minutes. So like, it's just, if you're someone that, maybe you have to take a lot of like allergy pills or stuff like that, and you feel like you're forgetting, this is kind of a cool app.
You're 70 years old.
Yep. And you have your like pill case. You're 70 years old. This is like it's actually what it is. It's like a digital pill case.
That's so funny.
Because like when I open it, it literally shows a picture of the pill. Because like I chose the colors and everything. And like it shows like morning, this pill. It's like a digital pill case.
It's helpful for your Alzheimer's.
So it's probably going to be relevant to nobody listening, but I thought it was a cool app.
MetaSafe. So my app pick is going to be an app called Inkwire, and it's made by the Clockwork Mod guy. Forget his name right now, but anyways, he's the one that makes all these awesome, useful apps.
That's not Koush, is it?
Koush. Yeah, him. Okay. He made this app called Inkwire, and what it does is it allows you to share your screen with another Android device or another person on their Android device. So if they need assistance or help or tech support or whatever, you can be like, don't worry, mom, I'll show you exactly what you need to do. And you share your screen with them, and they just click the little link, and it works beautifully. I think it uses some type of Chromecast something, because it the little Chromecast icon popped up on my phone. But I tried it with like my little cousin who was here, and I was showing her how to do stuff, and it works perfectly. And you can even draw like on the screen to show exactly where your like presses are and what to tap and what to do. And it works so seamlessly and awesome. I was super surprised when I first downloaded it. It was in beta, and I think it's out of beta now, if I'm not mistaken. But it's called Inkwire. It's free on the Google Play Store and super duper handy, especially if you have if you're the designated tech support guy for your family or whatever, or friends.
Like most of the people listening to this probably are.
Yeah, I mean, I spent. There's a friend who was like, I don't know, like I'm getting a new phone, my new Android phone. I'm finally upgrading, and I don't know, like, what do I do with all my pictures? I was like, use Google Photos. And they're just like, I tried. I don't know if it's how do I? And I'm just like, oh my gosh. So I had to like take screenshots of every process, send it to them, type it out, and walk them through. It was just so much trouble when like I could
should turn that into a post. Just send them the link.
I'm literally going to now.
Oh, you are? That's hilarious.
Yeah, the Google Photos, like how to back up your freaking Android photos, like so easy. Which will be really short post, but yeah, that's always a big deal with people. But Inkwire, Google Play Store. Download it.
All right. Didn't get any emails this week. We did get the one tweet about Pokemon Go that I already mentioned. If anyone is using any third-party trackers that are still working, give me the goods. Let me know.
Them trackers.
Yeah. Our email address is podcast@fandroid.com, and then Twitter, we're at MobileRoarcast. If you want to subscribe to the audio version of the podcast, it's on Google Play, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher Radio, and iTunes. Leave us a review if you listen to us in any of those places. That helps people find the podcast. And then you can follow us. Chris is at GamerCore. Ashley, when she's not melting, is at Overlord Roar. I am at Tall Schmo. And we will see you guys next week. Thanks for listening. See ya.
Later.